Welcome to Build on the Light. I'm Tammy Renee, and today I'm excited to start a new series called Reclaiming Your Light. And with me, I have my good friend, my little sister, kind of, sort of,
Yes.
Myra Marangi again. And what I want to talk about today is about reclaiming our light. And to be able to really reclaim our light, we have to connect to the passions, our soulful passions, and act on those passions. Because with trauma, abuse, any of those things, it kind of tries to drown those passions and we tend to lose ourselves. So if we can dig that out and reclaim that, but acting on the passions that we were born with and the passions really in our soul, we can find ourselves again. And Myra has been a great example of that to me. She loves music. She loves dance. And you can see when she teaches dance, exercise classes, Zumba and that kind of thing. But you can see when she's doing it, it's with her whole soul. And so I love that. So I think I'm just going to turn it over to you to be free to talk about the process, like where it started for you. When did you discover that? And when did you rediscover that?
It started, my brother and my sisters we had, what are the record players back then? Turntables.
Yes.
And they were avid fans, always having some sort of music. So I am a child of really like early 70s, any type of vibe in that 70s,
Yep.
The disco era, the love songs were really deep back then. And it was an era, a time where there was a lot of feeling in those songs.
Yes.
And I remember where it started. It was the TV show Solid Gold.
Yes.
So if you didn't know what the TV show Solid Gold was, I loved obviously seeing the different recording artists, and where on the top 10. Solid Gold was something that they played the top 10 songs, but in reverse. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, till they got to the number one. And they had a clan of dancers, the Solid Gold dancers. Yes.
I remember them.
And being a minority, I feel like, when I'm here in the, continental United States, the lead dancer, her name was Darcel, and she was a Black woman, most beautiful dancer probably ever. She had these, I'm pretty sure they were extensions, all one length, all down to her waist, and she'd flip those things around and do all the things with her, her hair danced, everything it just screamed like, I want to do that. I want to be able to, create it. It elicited these feelings of whether it was a familiar thing, like dancing was familiar somewhere inside me, but I didn't know how, because those Solid Gold dancers had a lot of technique.
Right.
And I didn't have that technique. I had the drive, but it was never fortunate to be able to take lessons when I was younger.
I love that, though, when you're exposed to something that taps into something deep inside you.
Yes.
Right? I love that.
Heavily.
Yes.
And I didn't know, I just knew I was supposed to do something that she was doing. And then fast forward to when I was 16, I was able to drive. So I was able to drive myself to different dance studios here in Reno and in Sparks. And I remember my first jazz instructor, his name was Marty, and he moved like a cheetah, and he was just so smooth. And then my first ballet teacher was Miss Diane, and she moved with such elegant grace. And I remember having a conflict, because then there was, as I delve into the world of dance at that ripe age of 16, there were different styles of dance that I had never really known. There was lyrical, there was, tap, and modern, hip hop, all the things. And I thought, wow, I want to just do everything. But I kind of built on from there. So 16, and then took some classes here. And then I lived in Las Vegas for a short time when I was 17, and I took some African dance classes there. And when I heard like the drumming and like that vibe, that was something tribal. It was a different flavor, I guess. I thought, I want to learn how to dance that too. So I took away that. I mean, I literally had the dance studio was off of Martin Luther King Boulevard. And I thought, okay, where I come from in Reno, I'm the ghetto, and it's hard to scrub the ghetto of the girl because that's just me. I'm real like that. So then when I started college, I thought, okay, I'm going to study dance, but not as a major because I'm probably not going to make a lot of money with that. Honey, stop, please. Sorry. And
just a minute. That's another one of her passions is her animals, her doggies. She loves them.
Yes.
So they're just adding to the conversation.
Yes. Sorry about that.
That's good. I love it.
But I decided to minor in dance. So I took a class in jazz, modern, lyrical, and ballet. And I did all that at the University of Nevada, Reno back in 95, 96. And then I just, for a time, just put it on the back burner because I was studying more, of my general ed type of courses. So then I just kind of forgot. I remember having more, or trying to have more children. Never really worked. But when I was working after I graduated with my associate's degree, I went to work right away. Was a legal secretary. And I would get up at 5:30 in the morning, across the board, Monday through Friday, and I would take this step aerobics class. And I would kind of make it, dancey. It was very straightforward, but I would make it dancey. And then I decided, well, I should probably try to teach as well. I started at a gym and in the childcare because my son was about 2 around the time. And I wanted a free membership. So he came with me to work. And then I noticed a lot of instructors throughout the day would be dropping off their babies or their little children and going to teach class and then coming back. And I thought, wow, it was inspiring for me. And I thought, I wonder if I could do that too. So I studied with my step aerobics instructor. Her name was Molly. This was in Carson City in 1995, 96, 97. And then 97, when I met you. We moved to Gardnerville. And I had my 3rd and 4th kids' pregnancies at that time. And then after my youngest was born, Nina, my Group X manager, she had an idea at Pulse. I think it was called Carson or Nevada Fitness back in 2003, 2002, 2004. And she said, we want to do this thing called Zumba. I have a DVD. You guys could watch it and see, if you want to do a class. So we watched the DVD and I saw Beto, who is the creator of Zumba, and we made up our own little class. And that's the experience I had. And then fast forward to moving with my husband's career to the East Coast. I was teaching a class, step aerobics class, and I made it really dancey. Back then, we had to use cover music. We couldn't use original music because of licensing issues. So then my Group X director there noticed that I had some background in dance. And she said, I really feel strongly that we should, how do you feel about going to Detroit, Michigan and paying for your training there so you could teach Zumba? And I was like,
wow.
Yeah, no, she didn't ask anybody. Her name was Gloria. And she asked me that. And I was like, okay. And each time I have to notice this because as I'm telling you these things, it was like I found a path. Like, here's my life. But every time I had a little nugget of being on the right path to figure out what my gifts and talents were, every time I had that little tinge. I didn't really notice what they were till I looked back and talking to you that it was like, yep, that's where I should be doing. I should go to Detroit, Michigan. And I went away, Detroit. It's like less than 2 hours from where I was living in Ohio. And I remember taking the master class, which when you're taking a training, they start always with a master class that the general public can do. And then they break into an 8-hour training session after that. And the master class, they did a Justin Timberlake song, Sexy Back. And I thought, what? It's actually an original song. Wow, it wasn't a cover song. And I felt the beat in my bones, in my entire center of being. I felt like, oh, I'm supposed to teach this. Yep, we're doing this. And then it I don't know, it brought me back to when I wanted to be a solo girl dancer and when I wanted to, take my initial dance lessons at 16. It just culminated up to that point in time where I was like, I am learning this now. I am going to be able to spread this and wow, be one of the first wave of instructors in the East Coast. I mean, it was something big. And that's what I did. That's where it started.
I love that. That's like, you got to reclaim, you have that little piece of light,
yes.
right? And that has energy, light has energy.
Correct.
So I love that,
yes,
right?
Yes,
you have that good kind of energy.
Yes.
And it's funny, our life will take us here and there and you kind of lose track of that. But how beautiful that you were able to find ways to reclaim that and to build on it.
Correct.
So feeling it, especially like when you first started the Zumba instruction and really feeling it in every part of your body, how did that help you through the trials? Because you, like me, you had a rough childhood, a really rough childhood. And so I should ask, do you feel like that tapping into that helped give you the energy to overcome the emotional stuff you were going through at the time?
Yes, like 1,000%. Yes,
right.
Because I guess your mind, when you're working through processing through trauma, and you're not really here in presence, you're like in your head, and you're thinking about everything that happened, how you can make it better, how to escape, how to get away. And I think up until that point, like my younger married life, and it was 2007 when I first discovered that. And I just remember when I started to actually teach the things that I had learned, I literally had less than 2 weeks to put a whole entire class together.
Wow.
And I picked out the best part of it was I picked out like 16 of my most favorite songs at that time. And I was able to either follow choreography from YouTube at that point or make up some of my own.
Right.
And that brought me back to another point in my childhood where we played the Michael Jackson Thriller album all the time when we lived in the ghetto in Reno. And I remember just telling my best friend, Jackie, she's still my best friend to this day, hey, we should make up a dance to like Thriller or, something. What is that? Mama say, mama sa, mama sa. That song.
Yeah.
That song we made a dance to that I literally remembered some of the moves that we did, and I made that into a dance for that song. And I remember just having this like creative freedom to be able to express that and do it. And most of the time after teaching a class, I was so tired. I didn't worry about all the minutia, the things that used to make me anxious.
Right.
I was more like relaxed because I had just worked out. I was doing so many things, so many good things for my body, processing trauma and all that, like being a mom, just having all of those responsibilities and just being able to kind of escape and get away and have fun, cleared the slate for me to go back and continue to do more of the mom thing that sometimes just get plain boring. And, just to add, I guess, some spice into, my very
I think
life.
It's also, I didn't mean to cut you.
No, go ahead. No, you're fine.
I think it's also, though, because escape can have negative connotations, because I think sometimes the escapes we use keep us from being our authentic self.
True.
But when we can tap into a passion and something from your soul, from deep inside somewhere, I think it's more of it's escape in a good way, I guess, because you can escape into who you really are, and you can expand on that and be that for a moment, because Earth life, it's kind of hard. You're trying to juggle, you're trying to be yourself while you're still trying to learn so many new things, whether it's being a mom or a wife or having a career or whatever the things are that we're struggling with, or if it's our emotional mental health healing that we're doing. Right.
And to bring to that point, when I was 48, so 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And my sister previously, when she was 48, was diagnosed with breast cancer. And, we were pretty close.
Right.
And I was locked into that world of cancer.
Treatment. Cancer treatment, diagnosis, and all the decisions.
There's no words to explain where I was going with that. But I know that it was dance. Like the thought of dance, I didn't know it was going to save my life. It was literally going to save my life, because when we talked about, I had so many appointments with a breast surgeon and a plastic surgeon to be able to talk about reconstruction and things like that. It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot during that time. And I was still teaching my Zumba classes at that point. And I just remember it brought me through. It brought me through the time. I always had something to look forward to after surgeries. I had 2 surgeries. Right. And I remember I had to not dance or do anything for 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes 10 to 12 weeks after the second surgery, because I had developed a case of lymphedema, swelling all over the place. And I remember thinking that maybe I'm doing too much, too often. And I still haven't fully healed from that yet, I think. I don't know if I'm having reactions to my implants or whatever, but I haven't felt well. But I've had to do things like develop natural ways, not anything pharmaceutical, to be able just to feel good again. Right. Just to feel good again. I remember I wanted to get my range of motion back. I had literally hardly any range of motion in my arm. And I remembered saying to myself, I was on my lazy boy chair and I was thinking, if I make it through this existence where I can only reach out this far, if I can get back to dance, I'm going to do something. Yeah. I don't know what. And then that little nugget, I felt it. I was like, oh, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do what we would call Zumbathons, basically, is basically having a person and like we did for my sister, we held a Zumbathon for my sister in that first year that she had gone through all of her cancer treatment, just to help. I mean, literally funds for her because she couldn't work and, didn't have medical insurance. And so we did that event and I thought, I want to do kind of the same thing, but I don't know. I was just trying to figure out how to process that, how to make it happen. Right. And in my class up at the Northwest Reno location of Eagle Fitness, there was a gal who had told me, she was a participant in my class, and she said, my sister just moved here recently and she's also a cancer survivor. And we want to be able to create a group, survivorship group for anybody with cancer, any kind of cancer. She invited me to a group. And it took a while because I did go to a survivor group, but it was affiliated with the hospital that I had my surgeries. And it was very depressing because I didn't have to have chemo or radiation at that point, like my sister. And I felt really bad, the guilt that I still had my hair and they didn't. So I kind of stopped the whole support group for that. But I didn't know about this survivorship group because it was hard to survive after cancer, like trying to find your way. Yeah. And I got connected with her and I felt really good attending, some of their group sessions and activities that they did too. And I felt the hope finally. And I thought, okay, there's some hope that I can heal fully from this and maybe give some, that's it. I'll create something called Dance for Hope. Yeah. And I literally created that in my head on my armchair because you can't sleep in bed for like a whole year. I had to sleep in an armchair, and zero gravity chair is a wonderful thing. And then I remember saying, I should ask Natalie, my friend, who was, this leader of this group. And I went to Target one day and there was Natalie. And I thought, So we talked about an hour about, could I do this little fundraiser for you? And then we just kind of connected from there. Oh, and so then I just had my third event. Yeah, third event, fourth one coming up this year. My gosh. And I created that because dance had helped me, given me hope as a cancer survivor and getting back on the hoops. I mean, I'm not perfect yet, but dance was the hope for me. Can I do that for other survivors who are trying to figure out their way after their cancer treatment? So that's how that was born. And I think the culmination of it all, and just when I'm dancing at all, I just feel good. Yeah. It's that great
it's a
feeling.
Soulful connection to the universe.
It is.
To all the good in the universe,
it's
right?
Very spiritual.
When you tap into what's deep inside, who you are. It's part of who you are. And I love that.
Yes.
I love that you acting on the passions and sharing your passion with others is what gave you life. And I love that it wasn't about, whenever we're acting on our own passions and we're doing those things, we have an opportunity to inspire other people as well. So
Yes.
I love that. So one message, if you have one message for people that are struggling with trauma, with cancer, with, dealing with mental and emotional issues, whatever, if you had one message for them today, what would that be?
So there is a scripture, the first thing that came to mind anyway, as you were talking, is the gifts of the Spirit. Obviously, we came to earth, we had bodies. When we leave this earth, our bodies stay here. Our physical bodies remain. Our spirit lives. And when we were in our former state, we were as we were, as a spirit. Not a body, nothing, just as we were. The essence, I guess, of us, our spirit. Right. And we knew that we had gifts and talents. We knew. And here we are in our second estate, I presume. And then when we tap into those gifts, everybody has a gift. When you find your gift, I had prayed as well because I felt pretty useless as a mother, a young mom. I didn't have that nurtured experience for myself, and I had to figure out how to do it. And you taught me a lot about nurturing others, brings nurturing for myself.
Right.
For whatever reason, dance has always been that answer for me. And I guess when I tap into that, maybe I will remember other people who had that same gift to dance. I mean, there's something about dance friends.
Yeah.
When I was younger and as an adult, postmenopausal female, it's still there. Whatever that is, that dance, when we're all in sync, when we're doing our thing, that's what we're feeling. It's an emotion. It's a connection. It's a connection. When you connect, you inspire, I hope anyway, that I inspire people to connect to whatever their gifts and talents, I guess, interpreted as passions here in this life. Right. They were gifts and talents. And wherever that scripture is, if we find the capability to be able to tap into that and pray and receive the answer and then develop that talent over time, then it will be used for some good because it was a part of us back in our first estate.
Yeah, it's always been a part. It's part of your soul.
Right.
Yeah.
It will always be ever existing, I guess.
And I think that connects us. It connects us to the light source.
Yes. It's energy. Like you said earlier, that's what I want to say. It is energy because energy can be transferred. I teach science. You just reminded me. I thought, okay, so when you feel that, I guess, a vibration or energetic connection to something, we can't see energy, but it's there. It could be in a room. It could be how you decorate your home. When you walk into something that's kind of dark and you feel that's that energy transmitting through you. For me, I wanted whatever that energy is that dance had. It's just explosive. It's everything.
Right.
I tapped into that energy. So if people, that's the one thing, tap into that, whatever brings you that energy of your first estate, that's your gift and talent. Tap in it.
And it connects us to our life source, to our Heavenly Father.
Yes, because He is
to
light.
Our Creator. Yeah. And to that light. I love that, Myra. Thank you so much for taking the time today and have fun at your dance class.
Thank you.
Sorry, I won't be able to make it.
That's okay. I hope Dora feels better. But yes.
Anyway, but thank you so much, Myra, for your messages and for sharing your story. And thanks for listening. And we'll hope we'll see you on our next episode.